In 1985, Coca-Cola, the most iconic drink in the world, decided to change its formula after 99 years. And the result? Total outrage. People hoarded old cans. Some even called customer service crying. This is the story of how one of Coca-Cola's biggest marketing failures became one of their greatest business lessons. By the early 1980s, Coke was in trouble. They still had the top spot, but Pepsi was catching up. See, Pepsi had something called the Pepsi Challenge.
Take the Pepsi Challenge and let your taste decide.
They set up tables in malls across America, poured 2 unmarked cups, one Coke, one Pepsi, and asked random people which they preferred. And to Coke's horror, most people chose Pepsi. It was sweeter, smoother, and just tasted younger. That one simple marketing stunt changed everything, and Pepsi became the cool drink, with celebrities like Michael Jackson, Madonna, and Lionel Richie in their ads. Coke suddenly looked old-fashioned, not like something your grandpa drank. Inside the company, panic started to set in. So, in response, Coca-Cola executives made one of the boldest moves in corporate history. They said, "Let's change the formula." This wasn't a small tweak, it meant rewriting a recipe that had been untouched since 1886, the one that built a $70 billion brand. Over 2 years, they spent $4 million, that's around $12 million today, testing the new formula with 200,000 people. And those tests looked promising. People said they liked it. It was smoother, sweeter, less fizzy, more like Pepsi. So in April 1985, Coca-Cola stopped making its legendary formula. They replaced it completely with something new called New Coke. On April 23, 1985, New Coke hit the shelves. And at first it looked like a success story and people bought it. Taste tests were positive. The stock price rose. Coca-Cola executives celebrated, toasted champagne, and even got bonuses. They thought they'd just saved the company. But then everything flipped. The moment loyal Coke drinkers realized their Coke was gone forever, they lost it. Coca-Cola's phone lines jammed with 8,000 angry calls per day. Over 400,000 letters flooded the company's headquarters. Protest groups formed across the country. One was literally called the Old Cola Drinkers of America. Supermarkets ran out of the old formula. People started hoarding old cans and bottles. Some even sold for hundreds of dollars on the black market. There were stories of people driving hundreds of miles just to find the real Coke. And one man was even reported to have filled his garage with cases like he was prepping for the end of the world. It wasn't just disappointment, it was betrayal. The outrage wasn't really about taste, it was about identity. Coca-Cola wasn't just a drink, it was a symbol. For almost a century, Coke had been woven into American culture. World War II soldiers drank it overseas. Santa Claus held it in Christmas ads. Families shared it during Sunday dinners. By changing the formula, Coke didn't just change a product, they broke a psychological bond. Later marketing researchers would call this brand attachment theory. It's the idea that people form emotional connections with brands just like they do with people. A brand can become part of your sense of self, and when that identity is taken away, it feels like loss. Coke had failed to realize that while Pepsi was selling flavor, Coke was selling nostalgia. Inside Coca-Cola's Atlanta headquarters, chaos erupted. Sales started slipping again. Executives received hate mail daily. Even the stock price dropped as headlines mocked the decision. One newspaper joked, "Coke commits corporate suicide." The pressure got so bad that Coca-Cola hired psychologists to talk to furious customers and figure out what went wrong emotionally. And the answer was simple. People didn't want new Coke. They wanted their Coke back. After 79 days of outrage, on July 11, 1985, Coca-Cola officially surrendered. They announced the return of the original formula, this time renamed Coca-Cola Classic. People went wild. Within weeks, sales of Coca-Cola Classic skyrocketed, even surpassing Pepsi. It became one of the most successful reintroductions in business history. Ironically, the failure had saved the brand. The event even created a pop culture moment. People still remember where they were when Coca-Cola Classic came back. It turned from a disaster into a national redemption story. I'm not really a conspiracy theory kind of guy, but they say sometimes you need to take something from people and give it back. This is how you make a person feel happy. Just a food for thought. Anyway, here's what business schools still teach about New Coke. Emotional branding is bigger than product features. People don't buy the best tasting product. They buy the product that means something to them. Coke's customers didn't want better taste. They wanted comfort, nostalgia, and belonging. Data can lie without context. 200,000 people said they liked new Coke better, but those were quick taste tests, not emotional decisions. The data failed to measure why people loved Coke in the first place. Change carefully when you're iconic. Innovation is great, but legacy brands must evolve without erasing their roots. Coke could have launched New Coke as a separate product, a Coke 2.0, and avoided backlash. Turn failures into comebacks. Coke didn't hide from their mistake. They listened, admitted they were wrong, and gave people what they wanted. That transparency actually rebuilt trust and made the brand even stronger. Nostalgia is a superpower. Coca-Cola Classic became one of the first examples of a brand using nostalgia strategically. It showed how powerful the past can be in marketing, something we still see today with brands reviving retro packaging or 90s ads. Honestly, nostalgia is a very big topic that I'm going to cover in one of my next videos. How we are being fooled by music labels, big brands, cinema companies, and so on. Let's get back to Coca-Cola. Today, New Coke is remembered as one of the biggest marketing blunders ever, but also one of the smartest accidental comebacks in business history. Even decades later, Coca-Cola occasionally brings New Coke back for limited runs, just as a fun callback to that wild moment in the 80s. In fact, in 2019 they re-released it as a tie-in for Stranger Things Season 3, a show set in 1985. It sold out in hours, so in a strange way, New Coke wasn't a total failure. It became a legend, a reminder of how even mistakes can build legacy. So next time you're working on a product or building a brand, remember this: people don't fall in love with what you sell. They fall in love with how it makes them feel, and sometimes the worst mistake you can make is forgetting why they loved you in the first place.